How we doing, sports bettors? Matt Modi here with OddsJam. As you guessed it, here to give you some NBA player prop best bets for today. First day of January, or excuse me, February. January just ended. Happy February, everybody. Wednesday, February 1st, giving you guys some NBA player prop best bets. So to do a recap, A, from January, B, from yesterday. January was an incredible month for me, absolutely incredible. I was up $6,000 in January. Now, 1,000 of that exactly was from an Eagles future of them going to the Super Bowl. So if you take that future out, I was up only $5,000, but an incredible January. The player props went pretty well for me yesterday as well after a really rough day on Monday. Evan Mobley was one that I locked in on the video. That one hit. Tyler Hero, I locked in not on the video, and that one lost, so got lucky there. And then if we scroll down a little bit more, I had Jalen Brunson over 24.5 points. That one hit. This LeBron one, I did post on Twitter, so make sure to follow me on my Twitter handle you see on the screen here where I post plays throughout the course of the day. Got that one to hit. Vooch was locked in on the video. That hit. DeRozan was the one that I locked in on the video that did not hit. And then I locked in... And yeah, so that was everything from yesterday. Finally had a good day. Monday was rough. Yesterday was good. That's the nature of sports betting. So again, going to be using OddsJam to find these mathematically profitable plays. Real quick, before I get into that, I mentioned following me on Twitter at my handle you see here. You can also find me on Pickett at OddsJam_Matt. I did start participating in the $10 to 10K challenge. I posted my first one on Pickett and on Twitter yesterday. I did get that one to hit, so day one was a success on the $10 to 10K challenge. So follow me on the social medias if you want to follow along with that. And let's get into it. So the first play of these NBA player props that I'm going to lock in here is Alperen Sengun under 20.5 points. So this play is at minus 105 odds at bet365. Now this is a bet that I have locked in. As you can see right here, Alperen Sengun under 20.5 points. Play has been locked in. I risked to win roughly $75. That's kind of how I have my unit sizing set up for player props. 3/4 of a unit is what I put on player props. If it's plus money, then I put 75 flat. If it's minus money, like this one, I try to make the math so it's risked to win $75. That's kind of how I have my bankroll set up specifically with player props. Now, you're going to ask, and those of you that are consistently watching these videos, A, I appreciate you, and B, you've heard this a million times, but all of the profitability comes from these no-vig odds here. Now, I won't go as long in this one as I do because I've heard some of the feedback, but all you need to know about why these bets are profitable is because if you just look at this screenshot here, so we bet the Bet365 at minus 105. We see odds all the way up to minus 136 for this play. Now that's a pretty wide gap for the same exact play. It's a $31 difference if you're trying to win $100 on the same exact play. So all you need to know about sports betting, and this is kind of the secret behind positive expected value betting in general, is that some sports books are better than others at pricing odds. There are sports books that are considered sharper than others at pricing odds. So OddsJam tested previous betting opportunities to determine what sportsbooks are the sharp ones, and then it removes the VIG using a weighted average to average out all of those sharp sportsbooks and what they price odds at, and spits those out into these no VIG odds here. So all you really need to know is that the no VIG odds represent the true line of what the market should be priced at. It's the true market evaluation for whatever bet we are placing. In this case, it's bolded. It's got the highlight around it. Alperen Sengun under 20.5 points is the positive expected value bet. Now, if you want a little bit more detail on positive expected value betting, I would just recommend searching it on the OddsJam YouTube channel because there is a ton of content about it. But play number one, Alperen Sengun under 20.5 points, minus 105 at Bet365. Next up, we are looking at John Collins over 7.5 rebounds. This play is at plus 120 odds at PointsBet. So the OddsJam perfect line for this one prices it at about essentially plus 115 if you can round up from plus 114.75. Now I lock in all of these player props. Unfortunately for me, PointsBet has me heavily limited specifically on player props. So like I tried to lock in the John Collins one and they let me get, where is that? John Collins, they let me get a whopping $8.33. So I did lock it in. You will see it on my public bet tracker. Couldn't get a ton of money on it. But again, OddsJam perfect line pricing this at plus 115. And then what you want to do, and I did this for the El Prince Sengun one, but you want to look at the odds of the bet you're placing and compare that to every other sportsbook that is pricing odds. Basically, you are trying to determine, okay, is the bet that I'm placing an outlier compared to every other sportsbook or not? Or not every other sportsbook, the majority of sportsbooks, including the sharp ones. If it is, then that's a good bet. If it's not, then I would recommend avoiding it. All of the player props that I lock in are outliers to the majority of sportsbooks, including the sharp ones. So this John Collins one, PointsBet is offering it at plus 120 odds, right? It's bolded. It's got the highlight around it. It's the sign saying, bet me, I'm profitable, bet me. So plus 120 at PointsBet. Looks like there are two books that are closer, FanDuel and BetRivers at plus 115 and plus 116. The rest of the sports books pretty much hovering between minus 104 and looks like up to plus 105. And I mentioned that there are sharp sports books that you want to look at. That would be Pinnacle, generally considered the sharpest sports book in the world. They price this at plus 102. That's a good sign. BetOnline, also regarded as a very, very sharp sports book. They price this at plus 103. That's also a good sign. And then again, you just want to compare the rest of the markets. Now you can ignore Prize Picks because they are a DFS company, so they have the same implied odds for every single play. But majority of sports books have it pretty much close to around plus 100, even money, which is why the Novig odds are at about plus 115 because you're removing the juice. So all in all, this is a good play. The John Collins over 7.5 rebounds at plus 120 odds is a good play. So I'm adding it to my list. That is my second NBA player prop for today. Next up, we are looking at Jeremy Grant to go over 4.5 rebounds. This play is at plus 124 odds at FanDuel. OddsJam perfect line prices this at about, if we want to round, plus 121 or plus 120.5, however you want to look at it. And this is another really, really good play that I have locked in. So if we go to my bets, my active bets, Jeremy Grant over 4.5 rebounds has been locked in, $75, the standard unit that I try to put on all of these. So again, we want to compare. All right, we know it's positive EV because we can look at these Novig odds and we can look at the bet that we're placing and say, okay, that's the gap. But again, you want to do the additional research. Make sure you're placing the best of the best. FanDuel at plus 124. Look across the board. So again, PointsBet is closer, which is kind of funny. I've noticed that PointsBet, FanDuel, and BetRivers generally are the three that are most closely aligned. I'm not sure why. I've just noticed that. Like that was the case for this John Collins one. BetRivers is lower on this one. But regardless, plus 124 at FanDuel. You want to start with Pinnacle, plus 100, 24 cents lower. That's a good sign. Then you want to look at BetOnline, plus 106. That's a good sign. Then you just want to look at the majority of the other sports books. Make sure that the majority of them are more aligned with Pinnacle. In this case, that is absolutely the case. We see plus 100, minus 103, minus 105, plus 100, plus 104, plus 105, plus 106. With the only one, again, being close is PointsBet at plus 120. And even that wouldn't be positive EV. Like if you didn't have FanDuel, this wouldn't be this play would not be available to you. The next closest book does not beat the Novig odds, so it's not profitable. So play number 3, Jeremy Grant over 4.5 rebounds. Play number 4, we're looking at Jason Tatum to go under 4.5 assists. Now again, I locked this one in, but they let me get a whopping $4.16, so even less than the John Collins one is what they let me get on this one. Novig odds price this pretty much at about plus 117. And then again, compare the plus 120 to every sports book. Once again, we see FanDuel and BetRivers are the two that are closest to the PointsBet line. But we see Pinnacle, minus 103. BetOnline, plus 106. We can ignore, in this case, both Underdog and Prize Picks, DFS companies. But outside of the two sharp ones, the majority of the sports books are also closer aligned to them. That would be like plus 105, plus 100, plus 105, minus 109, plus 100, pretty much across the board, showing you that this plus 120 is a really, really good bet. So that was player prop number 4. And my fifth and final player prop, I have two more, excuse me. I have two more. Chris Paul is the next one, over 10.5 assists. I locked in this one as well, as you can see right here, $75. Plus 120 odds at FanDuel. No big odds priced below this. It's a little bit of a lower gap between these two numbers, but I still like these, or I should say even these lower percents can still be profitable. In this case, just look at the FanDuel line compared to every other book. Literally no book is close to the FanDuel line. Now, the no big odds are about just below plus 120, but just look at every other sports book. Legitimately, every single one is between plus 101 and plus 104, including Pinnacle and BetOnline. So that's why this is a really, really good play, this Chris Paul over 10.5 rebounds. And then last up, we're looking at Precious Achiuwa to go over 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. I locked in this one on Caesars. Of course, my login expired. I locked in this one on Caesars. Plus 108 odds at Caesars, no big odds below this. Comparing the rest of the sports books, so these last four you can ignore, but plus 100, minus 110, minus 105, minus 110. Clear outlier compared to every other book, showing you that this plus 108 is a good line. And that's going to be it. So 6 player props for you guys to lock in today, all mathematically profitable. If you're tailing these after a hot day yesterday, hoping to keep it going today, comment and let me know. But that's it. So remember to follow me on the social medias, Jedi Modi on Twitter, OddsJam_Matt at Pickett. Other than that, appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and have a good one.